Well, you thought it was over? It's not over, my friend. It's not over. Alright, if you spent even 3 minutes on X today, you will have noticed the recent news about the Dallas shooter in the Texas ICE facility. So let's read what the FBI Director Kash Patel tells us about it, then we'll read more. As always, I'll try to get as many independent sources as possible in order to try and figure out the truth, since we can't trust anyone these days, can we? But let's begin. This morning, just before 7 a.m. local time, an individual fired multiple rounds at a Dallas, Texas ICE facility, killing one, wounding several others, before taking his own life. FBI, DHS, ATF are on the ground with Dallas PD and state authorities. While the investigation is ongoing, an initial review of the evidence shows an ideological motive behind this attack. Color me surprised. Now watch them. Now watch them starting to deny it. Watch them. It's the usual sing and dance. While the investigation is ongoing, an initial review of the evidence shows an ideological motive behind this attack. See photo below. One of the unspent shell casing recovered was engraved with the phrase, open quotes, anti-ICE, close quotes. More updates will be forthcoming. So you can see it here. Yeah. Okay. Now, before anyone starts screaming, oh, that could be misinformation, or we don't know why he did it. We don't know how he did it. You wait for it. You wait for it. You wait for the, oh, we don't really know what his true motives are, and he's dead now, so... FBI Director, guys, I'm not reading an angry guy on Twitter that is just reposting what someone else said. This is someone who had access to the direct, actual evidence from the crime scene. Let's continue. These despicable, politically motivated attacks against law enforcement are not a one-off. Yes, exactly. I'm going to comment on this in a second. We are only miles from Prayerland, Texas, where just 2 months ago an individual ambushed a separate ICE facility targeting their officers. It has to end, and the FBI and our partners will lead these investigative efforts to see to it that those who target our law enforcement are pursued and brought to the fullest extent of justice. Thankfully, no law enforcement personnel were injured. Please pray for the injured and deceased. So I would like to know more about the victims, to be honest. Now, I'm going to continue. Of course, we're going to make this political because it is. So we're going to discuss the political aspects of this, the historical aspects of this. I want to know about the victims, though. I want to know about the victims. Dallas ICE facility shooting 2 detainees killed and 1... Oh, detainees killed? So this, let me get this straight. Where is this shooter imbecile? Okay, wait a second. Let me put myself full screen because there are images of the shooter with his head completely blown off and blood everywhere. I don't think I can show that. This one I can show. All right. All right, so Dallas ICE facility shooting suspect identified as 29-year-old Joshua Jan. This guy, who's dead now. So this guy decided to shoot the ICE facility because he wanted to off or unalive some ICE agents, I suppose, to make a statement against the government and their usage of ICE assets. And he ended up shooting 2 immigrants. Oh, you gotta be fucking joking. Oh my gosh, these people are so stupid. And I mean, I feel for the 2 immigrants, of course. I am very pro-legal immigration as a legal immigrant. And then there is the whole situation about people that are refugees, which is a specific status. I have nothing against that. Of course, it needs to be done within a certain spectrum of resources in mind and all that, but because there is a system for it. But when it comes to illegal immigration, well, it's a problem and needs to be fixed. With that being said, my heart goes to the victims. I don't care that they are illegal immigrants at this point and then they were taken into custody. It is horrible, but it's clearly not what... Oh my gosh, this is terrible. This is insane. However, I need to show you the mental manipulation because it's insane. So we read this. Look at the comments. There is someone, a YouTuber, Mighty Keith. He says, he only killed the detainees but wrote, open quotes, anti-ICE, close quotes on the bullets. Be serious. Yeah, he shot through a van. He didn't know who was in the van. Also, mad weird, your last statement says, open quotes, thankfully no law enforcement were injured, close quotes, while there are 2 dead bodies and 1 in critical. Do their lives and families not matter cause they were illegals? Mighty Keith, you're a clown. You're a clown and a mental manipulator. I'll make a video about you. He said it. He said it. First and foremost, it's fine to say, thankfully no law enforcement personnel were injured. Yeah, because they were just doing their jobs. But look at this. Please pray for the injured and deceased. So, clown, do their lives and families not matter because they were illegals? You're a clown. This is exactly what they do to me. Whenever I say, guys, I studied it, Cleopatra was Greek, she wasn't black, and then people tell me in the comments, are you saying you don't want to see black people on the screen? It's the same thing. What else can we figure out? Oh, Zach talked about it. This is the part where I once again beg you guys to start looking online and investigating, prosecuting the people calling openly for violence. Absolutely. Based Zach. Based Asmongold. So many people get radicalized by this rhetoric and end up doing something horrible. Exactly. You're the FBI director, start acting like it. I absolutely agree with him. He's 100% right. That's what I've been saying. And also, one thing that I want to say, as he says here, this is not a one-off, and it's absolutely right. This is a copycat. I'm just going to tell it for what it is. This is a copycat. Writing on the casing of the bullets, not even 2 weeks after the assassination of Charlie Kirk. This is clearly a copycat. And there are more. There are 100% more. How do I know that? Well, because they made them. Like, make no mistake. Everyone will now try to deny this. But this is once again a case of radical left-wing violence. And we know it. Now, does that mean that far-right violence never happens? Of course it does. Now, given the studies that have been going around from universities that are trying to point out the numbers and percentages, I've checked them very quickly. There are several methodological flaws, and I will address them on an unbiased video. However, the simple existence of cases of extreme right-wing violence are not going to automatically delete this, nor the real intent behind the shooter that assassinated Charlie Kirk. We know. We know. We knew already immediately because, I mean, you guys have been manufacturing this. And when I say you guys, I mean the media, I mean high-end left-wing politicians, not all of them, but we do know that all of this messaging that is being pushed through propaganda on the media, in our video games. So the problem is not the games, by the way, before any idiot says that again. It's the political pandering and messaging in the games. If someone plays an old school Final Fantasy, I can assure you they will not get into this state of mind. But if someone plays all of the different games that have been made now and injected with politics that are going to reinforce what the insane activist teachers are going to teach children in primary school, elementary, then middle school, then high school, by that time, they have already become their pawns. They have been completely indoctrinated. They have been desensitized when it comes to human violence against a side that has been continuously represented as Nazis, fascists, white supremacists, monsters, racists, and all the rest. On top of that, movies have been pushing this. All of this inner propaganda that we've been fighting for many years, and people kept telling us, oh, why do you care? What does it matter? This matters. Because what they have done is mold a series of operatives that now do this, and after they start shooting and shooting and shooting, and more people die, then they say, oh no, these are independents. Oh, these are nothing to do with nothing to do. But yet they have all of your messaging that you have been injecting into their brains before the prefrontal cortex was even developed. But now you claim that they have nothing to do with us. Sorry. Also, manifestos disappearing. Come on. We know exactly what is happening. We know exactly what is happening. Let's just tell it for what it is. They created this. They made it and they knew it. Now that they have these operatives, the only thing that because it's not, they succeeded, but they didn't succeed 100% perfectly because these people write their motives on bullets, which clearly makes it harder. They still do it, obviously. They still say, oh, no, we don't know whether he was right, left, or center, who knows. They will still try it, because they will lie to your face, of course. That's how propaganda works. Just look at what happened in Germany and Italy in the 1930s, and you'll see it's exactly a representation of this again, but with a 10 times fold because of the advent of technology we have now. Regardless, this is something I think they wouldn't have wanted. This and the manifestos. Now, the manifestos do disappear. Because, someone writes 300 pages of manifesto, then they don't make it public. And they say, no, I didn't say anything. We've seen that happen. But the problem is that law enforcement is going to show this. And so that's a problem for the people that want this to happen. But of course, it's not like in their classes or in these games, they can actually go as far. They will say white supremacists and racists and Nazi and fascists are horrible. They are disgusting. And so a good Nazi is a dead Nazi. All that kind of stuff. They will say all of that to create a message. And then after they have created that, which is the simple one, it's the easy one. Because anyone is going to think, well, of course, Nazi is horrible. Yeah, fascist horrible. Yeah, all the terrible. But then they take these words and they apply them to people that don't belong. They don't belong. Just like me being called a racist even though I'm not. Just me being called a white supremacist even though I'm not. So and fascist and all the rest. So they will apply it onto everyone. Centrist, moderate, far right, alt-right. Everyone the same. To them, it's all a massive blob. And then after they have added all of this, then these operatives that have been clearly brainwashed, they will think, oh, that's the enemy. And mind you, because they start very young, this kind of messaging, whether it be through the games, whether it be through the media, whether it be through whatever you want, is all of their lives. Most of their lives. That's what they know. This is why it's harder. It does happen too, but it's harder to see a 50-year-old do this. It happens, but it's a lot of young people in their 20s because this is the majority of their life. And that's the point of reference. Well said, Zach. Well said. All right, let me full screen again so I don't show this guy's head exploded. How about that? I'll start from here so you don't really see. That's kind of crazy. Holy goodness gracious, that image. At this point, I watch all of them. I don't even care. I read everything at this point. Authorities have officially identified the gunman behind Wednesday's deadly sniper attack outside a federal immigration and customs enforcement facility in Dallas as 29-year-old Joshua Jan. Right. The shooting left 4 people dead, that's horrible, including Jan himself, and has sparked renewed concern over security measures of federal facilities and during detainee transport operations. Unspent cartridges engraved with anti-ice were found near his body, suggesting an ideological motive. Yeah, it does suggest it, doesn't it? Also, considering the timing of it, which definitely is a factor, how close to what happened. And do remember, please, not only it's very close to what happened to Charlie Kirk, but what did prominent left-wing influencers say? Oh, such as Destiny. I'm going to make another video to call him out. I'm going to continue. I'm not done. What did he say? Oh, the rally looked like a Nazi rally. He knows. They know that when they say stuff like that, yeah, typical of the Nazis, what Erica did for giving the shooter of her husband. Oh my gosh, it sounded like a Führer. Führer, ja, das ist sehr gut. Auf Wiedersehen. So he says that shit. This happens, and then they go, "Oh, we don't know what happened. No, we don't know if this is an absolute idiot." In fact, to anyone watching, I am believable that I have to say this. 3 detainees inside the van were struck by gunfire, so he only hit the immigrants, the migrants. 1 victim died at the scene, while 2 others were rushed to a local hospital. By midday, officials with the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, confirmed that the second detainee had died from injuries, bringing the death toll to 3. And I'm so sorry for these people. Like, you think I care? I don't even know where they're from. Who cares? Who cares? They're victims. Just like Charlie's a victim. So I've been condemning for the last 10 days the people laughing at Charlie because of ideological positions and political ideas. I am pretty strongly against illegal immigration, but I'm not going to be happy at this. I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm glad they didn't hit ICE agents, and I'm glad instead they hit it with two less. Could you imagine? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm so sorry to the families, and my heart goes to you. They did not deserve this. They did not deserve this. The 3rd victim remains hospitalized in critical condition. Let's pray for the 3rd victim, guys. Let's pray for the 3rd victims. Who cares where they're from? Let's pray for them that they survive. As law enforcement closed in, Jan fatally shot himself, ending the standoff. I want to actually find the autopsy report. I usually read them because then you can actually see where the bullet entrance is, so you can imagine how, because oftentimes they don't tell you. But I want to know, so we'll see if he shot himself in the mouth or if he shot himself on the temple. Usually it's these two with these kind of people. The suspect is deceased. Dallas police said in an official statement this remains an active and ongoing investigation. Yeah, so now they need to seize his phone, they need to seize his computer and see what kind of people he was talking to. And then, once again, if Discord is involved, social media platforms are involved, instant messaging, if there was a planning, if there are connections. Just like it happened with the other assassin, there were other people that knew and said nothing. As far as I'm concerned, they're accessory to murder. I say, as my own personal opinion, without having any legal training. Allegedly. The FBI, DHS, and Dallas Police Department are jointly investigating the incident, while authorities believe they have established the suspect's background. No motive has been released. Yeah, color me surprised again. Investigators are continuing to examine Jan's actions and movement in the days leading up to the shooting. You see, I know that people will say, oh, look, Metatron is misinforming. He's saying that this guy was a radical leftist, but you don't know that. Yeah, you said that about the other assassin. In fact, you said worse about the other assassin that I will not mention his name because I'd rather it was forgotten, but Charlie Kirk's assassin. People said, oh, no, first you said we don't know. regardless of the bullets and all the rest. Then you said, oh, he's Trump. He's a Trump supporter because of a Photoshop picture of someone wearing a shirt. Yeah, and he shot Charlie Kirk, who was one of the main supporters of Trump during the election. Yeah, sounds just about right. Then they said, oh, look, his family's conservative, so... And I'm like, yeah, so is Destiny's family, so what are you trying to say? Dallas Mayor Eric Johnson is expected to address the public in a press conference with local officials. Congressman Mark Beasley also issued a statement calling the attack a senseless act of violence against vulnerable individuals, right? Extending his condolences to the victims and their families. I don't think, yeah, but in reality, I would say this is not well descriptive because it's an act of violence against the official authorities, and it ended up, by mistake, hitting vulnerable individuals. That's what happened. And it will continue until this is addressed at its core, which is the pandering, the message, and the allowing of the streamers and influencers and politicians that continuously push for violent rhetoric. That needs to be addressed. If that's not addressed, they'll continue producing these kind of individuals. It's a copycat. We know it, you know it. It's a copycat because of all the threat. We saw the tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands probably at this point, of people that laughed and agreed with Charlie's assassination. And the millions of likes. This is one of them. You can't hide it. You can't hide it. You made him. And there are more out there. Stay safe. If you appreciate my content so far and wish to help ensure my ability to continue to tell it how it is, regardless of any possible backlash, please support this channel on Patreon. Any support helps me and my team of academics keep the channel strong and gives us the means to fight back against the political rewriting of history. Stand with us, form the wall, defend the truth.